Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94, here back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to the worst selling pay-per-views in WWE history. We did the best selling. Now let's do the worst selling. I think the worst one by far. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. But if I had to guess, I think there was a pay-per-view called The Great Balls of Fire. I think that one was the worst one they ever did. The Great Balls of Fire. I think that was the worst one they ever did. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you. They've had dud pay-per-views before, for sure. They have terrible pay-per-views before, but I can't tell you if they were the worst selling or not. But yeah, without further ado, man, let's get right into this.
A few days ago on the channel, we talked about the most successful WWE pay-per-views of all time. From WrestleMania 28 to the Invasion show, it was a fascinating dive into the most bought shows in the company's history that really showed what the fans connected with over the years on pay-per-view. But now it's time to take a look at the other side. It's time to take a look at the shows that failed to get the fans to spend their money. From pay-per-views that didn't meet expectations to straight up flops, and to, of course, the top 5 least bought pay-per-views of all time. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get straight into it. Let's start off by talking about the disappointments. These are shows that were not necessarily total flops or got horrible buy rates, but are quality shows that had good cards on paper that honestly should have done better than they did. And we begin with Survivor Series 2002, which did just 340,000 buys. Survivor Series 02 is a very iconic show, right? This is a legendary show from MSG, the first ever Elimination Chamber, Lesnar losing the title for the first time. This is a classic show in every way, but when it took place, it failed to get the buys it deserved. This was back when Survivor Series still kind of meant something, right? So this was still a big for a classic pay-per-view that more often than not did 400,000 buys. The year before they did 400,000 plus buys, the year after they did 400,000 plus buys, but for some reason the O2 edition just failed to sell. 340,000 isn't bad, but with that star power, a brand new match type, this being a 200,000 buy drop from SummerSlam 02, it was rough. And I guess you just have to chalk it up to people didn't know what the an Elimination Chamber was. And to be fair, it does sound like something out of Nazi Germany, so I don't blame them. But you know, you add in the fact that Big Show was in the title match, like, alright bro, a disappointing number for sure for a show that definitely deserved better, for an all-time classic. And surprisingly, this is going to be a common thing, because you know what other show did a surprisingly disappointing number? This one hurts to say, but Money in the Bank 2011, which did only 205,000 buys. Yep.
Well, to be fair, the company wasn't in a great place at this time. So even with the CM Punk pipe bomb, this still goes to show you that y'all dick ride so heavy, really wasn't convincing anybody, bro. He really wasn't convincing anybody. He wasn't moving units like y'all thought he was. So y'all could dick ride the nigga all y'all want to. He wasn't moving units like y'all thought he was gonna move units. Nope, not at all. Hate to say it, but that's the truth.
Yo, this one hurts. Money in the Bank 2011 is another iconic legendary show. From the main event to the banger ladder matches, this.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sit up here and act like this wasn't a good pay-per-view. I'm not gonna sit up here and ever say that was a bad match. Even though I don't like CM Punk, I would never say that was a bad match. That was a great fucking match. Great storytelling, but I'm just saying though, after that, I mean, what do you get after that? I was like, the bar just goes so fucking low after that. Like, come on, Chief.
This is a top 5 pay-per-view in terms of quality for many wrestling fans. And for so many of us, this was such a hugely, insanely hyped up show because it took place after the pipe bomb. The pipe bomb was something that lit the wrestling world on fire. And to this day, you'll hear people say, yeah, the pipe bomb brought me back to wrestling. But it's like, how did this show only do 30,000 more buys than Capital Punishment? That stupid ass show. Which look, 30,000 is still a really good increase, and cracking 200,000 as a non-Big Four show in 2011 was great, but this number always just felt kind of disappointing. Like, this didn't even beat Extreme Rules 2011. It's not a bad number, it's not a flop by any means, just a tiny bit disappointing, and I guess more shocking than anything. One show that has always been considered a disappointment in terms of buys since the numbers came out that I actually disagree with is sadly SummerSlam 2013 with 332,000 buys. Once again, a classic pay-per-view with...
This was a really good pay-per-view, but once again, WWE was just in a bad place around this time. Like, don't get me wrong, things started to turn up when the Daniel Bryan got into the title picture. When Daniel Bryan got into the title picture, that's when everything I felt like started to pick up steam. because everybody was fucking with Daniel Bryan. I didn't really care. I was looking at it like, I mean, Daniel Bryan, all right, but I don't really get the hype or the gist around it. But okay, you know what I'm saying? Okay, that's just me though. I'm not the type of person to fall in line with the sheep, bro. Like I see shit for what it is. I don't fall in line with the sheep. So your boy CM Punk, I wouldn't sit up here and dick ride. Daniel Bryan, I'm like he good, but I still haven't seen enough from him yet to really be. I don't understand the dick ride. I just thought it was just like wrestling marks, you know, like oh these dudes were called in the independence and WWE need to take them more seriously and stop giving everything to John Cena and Randy Orton. Man, we're mad. Man. That's all I thought. That's all. That's really what I thought it was. But over time, Daniel Bryan grew on me. And I understood why people said Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan could definitely put on a banger. For sure. He earned my respect over time. But your boy though, like I said, still hasn't reached that bars. He will never reach that bar of the pipe bomb. He hasn't. I mean, right now he's doing really good, but that pipe bomb moment, he still hasn't reached that bar. I'm just saying.
Banger matches, a universally beloved show, disappointed in the buy rate. I'm gonna be honest though, I don't think 332,000 is a disappointment. I think it was a solid number. It was still the third most bought show of the year. You had a new star in the main event. In my eyes, it did solid, but the reason it's here is because Vince McMahon later in 2013 went out and called it a disappointment on an investor's call and said, SummerSlam was not the right attraction. You don't knock them all out of the park. That one was a swing and a miss. Which to me just shows that the expectations were just way too high for this. Yeah, it was a drop from SummerSlam 2012, I get that, but it still did better than SummerSlam 2011. But in the eyes of the company, this was a disappointment. But moving on, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the pay-per-view flops.
Damn.
Shows that honestly were just straight up flops. And might as well start off with the most shocking flop of them all, WrestleMania 19, which did just 565,000 buys. Yo, listen, how the hell do you have a WrestleMania that has Rock, Austin, Hogan, Lesnar, Triple H, and everyone else do less buys in the Rumble that year? How the hell do you put together one of the most stacked cards in wrestling history and do the lowest Mania buy rate since 1997? What the fuck?
I have no idea how to. Was the world going through a recession around this time? The world had to be going through the recession around this time, because ain't no fucking way y'all this didn't do numbers. WrestleMania 19 was a banger, bro. What? WrestleMania 19 was a banger, bro. WrestleMania 19 was a banger. WrestleMania 19 was a fucking banger, bro. They went out with a bang. I think, you know what I really think it is? I think it's because we weren't going to get The Rock and Stone Cold after this. I think everybody saw the writing on the wall and they just started to give up, and they didn't want to let the memories die. So they just let the WWE die without focusing on the memories. That's what I thought. That's what I'm thinking. Either that, or people was just in a bad place, money wise, financially, to to buy the show. Or you gotta remember, the internet was the wild wild west around this time. So for those of you that don't know, the internet around this time was the wild wild west. You could come up on a couple of if you knew the right websites, you could get this show for free. Y'all gotta remember, like in the 2000s, boy, in the 2000s, the internet was the wild wild west, my nigga. It was nothing. Y'all think LimeWire was the only thing that was popping in the 2000s on the internet? Shit, nigga. Let me introduce y'all to it. It was full websites dedicated to illegal shit. Just, hey, you want that new video game? Guess what? We got it over here. I ain't talking about Pirate Bay. I'm talking about actual websites where they would literally get albums, movies, video games, and just have them right there. Just be like, here you go, it's free. Before the FBI and the government started cracking down on shit and started taking shit down. But like back then, the internet used to be the wild wild west. That's probably what it was. It had to be, bro. The 2000s, yeah, the internet was a wild wild west.
What was this? This buy rate will never not be shocking to me. Not only did this end up being an amazing show, even going into it, to me, this show was so good on paper, yet it flopped. I'm never gonna understand it. Over the years, I've done a lot of research and looked into this to see why this happened, and many theories and opinions have been shared. Many have said that the overemphasis on Vince versus Hogan led to the low buy rate, because a lot of the promotion for this WrestleMania did make it seem like Vince versus Hogan was the main event, and then a lot of people didn't want to see Rock versus Austin for the third time. It was predictable that of course Rock was gonna win, but it's like, okay, I get that, but still, 560,000. Listen, I don't care if the main event was my mom versus my dad. This show should have done at least 750.
They
At the very
went
least,
crazy
but nah,
this
one of the
WrestleMania.
biggest flops of all time. And honestly, in terms of flop, this is the biggest flop of all time. I think it's pretty clear now that the quality of the show doesn't matter, because the buys come in before the show even takes place, and sometimes, as we can see, the card on paper doesn't matter either. Sometimes people just don't want to spend money on the product, and that was evident in 03, because even after WrestleMania 19, the next month they had another flop with Backlash 03 doing just 345,000 buys. Now at first I was going to put this under disappointments, because 345,000 isn't bad for a Backlash.
I wouldn't, because it's Goldberg. Who the fuck cares about Goldberg? Fuck Goldberg.
But this was Goldberg versus Rock, okay? This was Goldberg's first match in the WWE, his first US wrestling match since 2000.
Hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down.
Against The Rock,
that
Mr.
shit is
Hollywood,
a two-pack
and
of
they
ass.
did the fourth worst buy rate
The
of
fuck
the
are
year.
you
Wait,
talking
what?
about? That shit
Now,
stinks.
granted, not having a world title on the line probably didn't help. Poor Booker T, man. He never got that leg back after WrestleMania. But still, I gotta say, this was a flop, not a disappointment. People just didn't want to see Rock versus Goldberg. It's as simple as that. I don't think it's because, oh, Goldberg is not a draw. They just didn't want to see Rock versus Goldberg. Goldberg's first show back should have done a huge number, but it was just, alright, 345,000, yay, boo, woohoo, great. And to me, I always wonder, what if they were just like, yo, fuck it, let's do Goldberg versus Triple H for the world title, Backlash 03, his first matches for the world title, and he actually wins the world title. I really wonder what the buyer would have been then, because when they did do Triple H versus Goldberg, even after they kind of ruined it at SummerSlam 03, they still did 365,000 buys at Unforgiven. Imagine what they could have done if they did it right away at Backlash. They 100% would have touched 400,000 plus. Before we move on though, ladies and gentlemen, here is a vintage flop from 1997. Did you know, fun fact, WrestleMania 13 did only 237,000 buys. This is the lowest WrestleMania buy rate ever. The company in 97 was pretty solid, right? But early 97 was still kind of rough after the fumes of 1996 were still there, and Undertaker versus Sid as your main event, yo, that's an ugly sight. But yo, still 237,000 buys for a WrestleMania. What the hell was wrong with them? To put that into perspective, WCW's pay-per-view the same month back in March of 97, Uncensored 97, which didn't even have a world title match in the main event, did 325,000 buys. A random B-tier WCW pay-per-view outdrew WrestleMania. This just shows how ahead WCW was in 97. Yo, WCW really blew a 3-1 lead in the finals, didn't they? But 237,000, it's pathetic, and it's a shame because Bret versus Austin, they deserved all the buys. On a side note though, you know what pay-per-views always did poorly and really surprised me? The Taboo Tuesday / Cyber Sunday shows from 04 to 2008. Yeah.
Because they tried to make it seem like we as the fans had the power, but in reality they already had the script ready. It's just like all we got to do was just decide who was going to be in the match. That was it. Who title was going to be on the line? Who was going to be in the match? Who's going to be the special guest referee? That's all we had, bro. You get rid of all that shit, bro. At the end of the day, bro, they already had the script. They knew how predictable we was as fans. So they already knew, like, oh, if they go take this, then we just gonna do this. It's like, nigga, fuck y'all. Fuck this shit. And then it was on a Tuesday. It was on a random Tuesday before they turned it into Cyber Sunday. Cause it was on a random Tuesday. Who the fuck is gonna buy a pay-per-view on a Tuesday? Nigga, we gotta go to school the next day. Ain't nobody finna buy that shit on a Tuesday. Niggas ain't even got paid yet. The fuck you doing, WWE? Having random pay-per-views on a fucking Tuesday. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, they all did pretty fucking bad. Really bad. I used to adore these shows as a kid, okay? To me, these were so magical, so special, and so fun, so fascinating. The possibilities were endless. Sometimes. Gee, I wonder which one's gonna win. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I was just a little slow as a kid, but just the idea was so cool to me. It was just such a fun time, and honestly still is. They should really bring this back. But the sad reality is, these shows every year just did not sell whatsoever. Taboo Tuesday 04 is pathetic because this show did only 174,000 buys, the lowest of 2004, the lowest pay-per-view buy rate they've had at this point since 1997. And what makes it even sadder is it's not just the buy rate, this is one of the lowest attended pay-per-views ever. Wait, no, I forgot. No, this is the lowest attended pay-per-view ever. Only 3,500 people were in attendance. You know how sad that is? Okay, do you know how sad that is? That's like P. Diddy baby oil bottle numbers. What? How was a pay-per-view in 04 only in front of 3,500 people? And why was this show in an arena that fits 18,000? Rick Flair.
My city let y'all down. I ain't gonna lie, my city let y'all down, bruh. On behalf of my city, we apologize. Now I see why they don't come to Milwaukee as often. I see why the wrestling world hates Milwaukee. Because we do not show out. we are one of the worst. That's why they always skip over Milwaukee and go to Green Bay. They only come here once a year. Literally once a year. Like, it'll be a SmackDown once a year, or it'll be a Raw once a year. It has always been SmackDown for the most part. SmackDown has appeared in Milwaukee once a year, bro. They will skip over us and go straight to Green Bay. Damn. Shout out to my city though. RP to the Bradley Center, man. Damn, bro. The memories, bro. They tore it. They blew this building up, bro. Yeah, they blew this building up. For those that don't know, in 2019, when we finally had the Pfizer Forum and shit, yeah, they blew this one up immediately. They blew this one up like, I want to say 4 months into the regular season. When Giannis was going crazy, they was like, fuck it, blow it up. It was like, goddamn, y'all, we just gonna blow it up? It's like, yeah, get rid of it. We don't need it. Well, damn. Yeah, RIP to the Bradley Center, though, man. The good times. A lot of memories.
Flair was out here bleeding all over the ring for no reason for 3,500 people and 170,000 people on pay-per-view. How sad do you think Triple H was when he had to do his water spit thing into the camera and there was just like darkness behind the camera? 05 the next year flopped again, and it was like, okay, maybe it's just people don't want to buy shows on Tuesday. That was legit their reasoning on why Taboo Tuesday flopped, which never made sense to me, because it's like, what difference does it make if it's a Tuesday or a Sunday? People watch Raw on Monday, like, what difference does it make? So they moved it to Sunday, and you know what? Color me surprised, it actually worked out. Cyber Sunday 06, they did see an improvement, but by 07 and then 08, it just went down, and by Cyber Sunday 08, they did 153,000 buys. How, what? How can these shows that are controlled by the fans, controlled by the people, do so bad? Is it because nothing important ever happens on the, yeah, that's probably it. But still, you know what, I don't care. I blame the 08 buy rate on Big Show and his fat ass and his stupid match with The Undertaker. It's all his fault, GG, I don't care. But okay, let's move on to the top 5 worst bought pay-per-views in WWE history. Oh man. So this is the bottom of the barrel, the worst of the worst, the least bought shows in the company's history, and we're talking about legit 3-hour pay-per-views, okay? No international shows, no 2-hour in your houses that were only $14. No, these were full price, $30+ shows, full-length pay-per-views, and at number 5, it's Over the Limit 2011 with 145,000 buys. Listen, any show that has Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler in a Kiss My Foot match, what kind of nasty ass shit was it, deserves this buy rate. And first of all, whoever has that nasty Michael Cole foot fetish backstage needs to be shot. Second, why is Chavo taking on Sin Cara? Is this an episode of Superstars? And yeah, I don't think by this point anybody wanted to watch John Cena versus The Miz again in an I Quit match. I hate this match, by the way. This was such a typical PG era, like, just clown fest. I can't. 145,000 buys for this, no surprise here. At number 4, it was Bragging Rights 2010 with 137,000 buys. I watched this show live actually. Did I order it? Hell no. Shout out to First Row Sports, all the old heads remember. By 2010, SmackDown vs. Raw meant as much as like those stupid clickbait GTA 6 leaked videos we used to see all the time on YouTube. But by this point, Nexus was down so bad, it wasn't even funny. Adding old men trying to bury each other alive, this was rough. And after a great SummerSlam 2010 buy rate, which did 350,000 buys, everything just kept declining, and by October, this show felt the damage. Rest in peace Nexus, they put Cena's career on the line, or either Wade Barrett was going to become champion, one or the other, as the main event stipulations, and nobody cared, and only 137,000 people tuned in. Just dark times. Number 3, Vengeance 2011 with 121,000 buys. Yo, when Alberto Del Rio versus John Cena is your main event of your pay-per-view, how mentally insane do you have to be to actually expect people to pay for it? This show was a trip. I remember the ring break, so I remember Big Show versus Mark Henry. I don't remember anything else from this show whatsoever. Apparently CM Punk and Triple H teamed up together. What? Hey Punk, I'm gonna bury you at Night of Champions after your little summer of Punk, but then let's team up together. What in the blue hell was this show? But still though, I thought with Triple H, Punk, and Cena and Orton being on one show, you would think they would do over 121,000 buys, but nah. Number 2 on the list, Battleground 2013, 119,000 buys. This show had one awesome match, right? One just amazing match that can make a grown man cry. Curtis Axel versus R-Truth, duh. Okay, Rhodes Family versus The Shield, Dusty Job on the line. Great match, all-timer, amazing, right? But this show had nothing else. People actually paid to watch Punk versus Ryback in 2012, surprisingly. They did some good buy rates. It was now 2013. They did not pay anymore. And the main event of the show was the biggest slap in the face of the fans. On paper, it's like, oh, it's Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton for the vacant WWE title. That's not bad. I'm sure people are going to tune in for this. No, this was a slap in the face. This deserves the second worst buy rate ever because, guys, everybody and their mom knew going into this that Bryan was not winning the title. You know why? It's Battleground. Bryan had just got screwed at SummerSlam, right? Do you really think he's gonna win the title back at fucking Battleground 2013? It was so obvious that he wasn't winning. It was so obvious some stupid ending was gonna happen, some clown show, and guess what happened?
Well, it's a big show.
If I ordered a pay-per-view in 2013 and the Big Show in Big 2013 interfered and ended, I probably would have jumped out of my window. Honestly, if anyone watching this ordered this show, please comment below. If you're one of the 119,000 people, please comment below. You might be entitled to compensation. But at number 1, to the surprise of absolutely no one, the least bought pay-per-view in WWE history,
December to Dismember.
ECW December to Dismember 2006 with 90,000 buys. Yo, I'm surprised this got 90,000 buys. Okay.
Surprisingly, this was really cheap. This was so cheap, I actually got to watch it. That's how cheap this pay-per-view. This pay-per-view was really cheap. I don't know why it was cheap, but it was very cheap. I actually sat there and watched it. I just looked around like, they really put this on TV? They really made this a pay-per-view? Really, WWE, this is what we doing?
The jokes aside, the funny thing is, I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, as a stupid kid, I actually really wanted to order this show. Extreme Chamber sounded kind of cool, it sounded violent, it sounded kind of fun, but thank God my mom said no, because listen, we all know how bad this was. ECW at this point was dying and dying fast, and this was a final nail in the coffin. And when you sell a pay-per-view with only 2 matches announced in advance, it's not gonna be pretty. You know what though, what makes me happy is that after talking about all these classic shows that were disappointments in terms of pay-per-view buys, that were flops, blah blah blah, at least the worst bought pay-per-view ever in terms of WWE is arguably the worst pay-per-view they've ever produced. At least it works out. 90,000 people actually bought this. This should have got max 50,000. What a time. Who bought this? I want to know who bought any of the shows in the top 5. But yeah, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. These are the biggest disappointments, the biggest flops, and the worst selling pay-per-views in WWE history. It's surprising, isn't it? I don't think many people expect a Survivor Series 02 to be here, or WrestleMania 19, or, you know, Money in the Bank 2011, but they are. Those shows deserve better, but hey, it is what it is, right? Once again, though, I probably missed a few, so if you ever want to do your own research on the best shows, the worst shows, or if you ever just want to nerd out and look at these figures, just go down to the description, click on the link, and the world is yours. In the comments down below, though, let me know, what is the worst pay-per-view you ever bought before back in the day? It could be WWE, TNA, I don't care what it is, just let me know down below.
I never bought a TNA pay-per-view a day in my life. Who the fuck watches those? I never watched a TNA pay-per-view. I just came up across them when I could, bro. Like, because people was uploading them to the internet anyway. Like a couple of weeks after they fucking happened, they would upload them to the internet. So I just wait for somebody to upload it to YouTube, and I just watch the whole thing on there. Like, oh, that's what happened. Oh, okay. That's how I got all my TNA pay-per-views, but yeah, the worst one by far was the ECW one by far. December to Dismember is the worst one by far. It was cheap too for some odd reason. I don't know why it was super cheap, but it was cheap. I forgot what it was. I think it was like $15, something like that. That shit was super fucking cheap. Sat there, watched that. I said, ain't no fucking way they put this out here. They said, this is a pay-per-view.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Ain't no fucking way. But anyways, though, that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. Just go about do it for this one. About to take my black ass on the bed. I'm tired. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. And I will see you all in the next video. Till then, peace out.